Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. So come get some CromCon. CromCon.
I'ma get it, you know I be on the way. Yeah. You know I be on the way. Man on a mission, I'ma get it, you know I be on the way. Yeah, it's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this to all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work.
Madness Comic Network and Comic Related Madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
Good morning, everybody. It's me, Laurie Calcaterra, your hostess with the mostest today. Today, from the eye of the storm, apparently there was a tornado that just went through Dallas. Everything's okay here, so thank goodness my house is still here. I spent a little time in the closet, but I came out, so it's okay. Today we have a special guest. I'm very excited to have her here. Kick-ass movie. If you guys haven't seen it, it's called Guns of Eden. It's like a little bit of, how do I want to describe it? The Most Dangerous Game meets Smokin' Aces and some Rambo, with this badass chick who just, I can't wait to ask her some questions about her character because I had a great time watching her just decimate everybody. Let's bring her in. Everybody say hello to Alexandra. Can you pronounce your last name for me? I was going to try it, but I'll probably butcher it.
Yeah, it's Sadeghian.
Sadeghian, very good.
Sadeghian.
I was
like
close.
Sad egg.
Sadeghian.
Yeah, sad egg. Yeah,
That's a good way of putting it. Well, welcome to the Tuesday morning brew.
Hi,
How are you? Good. Did you bring your coffee?
Thanks, great. I actually just drank my coffee. I finished it.
Oh.
But I have my cup.
I had to go refill mine because it was done. Ooh, fancy cup. Do you drink that with your pinky? I think we have a little delay, everybody, so I apologize, but we'll make it work. So anyway,
Yeah,
good morning.
I'm getting the same thing.
Yeah? Okay. Well, I'll make sure when I'm done talking, I will pause and let you catch up so that way you can respond.
Good morning.
So
how are you?
I watched The Guns of Eden last night. And
yeah, I will do the same.
okay. What do you think about my description of this movie? The Most Dangerous Game plus Smokin' Aces plus Rambo. I think that's a pretty good description.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I know our distributor was calling it First Blood meets Deliverance. But I think what you said was very, very accurate as well. You know, it's like it's a big homage movie.
Absolutely. And it was definitely a ton of fun. Tell me about your character, Megan. When they wrote Megan, like what kind of information did they give you of how to play her?
Greg, the director of the film, he left it. He wrote this film, actually, something really funny about this film is it was written the same year I was born. So it was written in 95. So we are the same age. The screenplay and I are the same age. So we make a joke that, like I was born to play the role.
Yeah.
But, when it was first being auditioned, it was a different looking kind of girl. So, some of the earlier concepts had her more like Irish looking. And I had ended up reaching out to Greg and Tamar. They're producing partners and they're also married. And they were like, all right, here's the script. And they didn't give too many, specific notes about how to play her. And the cool thing about Megan is she's written, and I've said this a few times, she's written in a very gender neutral way. So you can add really what you want to her. You can really make her what you want. On the page, she's just this very strong human. So, they left it really open to interpretation, and the interpretation I went with was something they really, really liked.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see how it's gender neutral. There wasn't really anything anybody could have stepped into that role, but I think you're right. I think you were kind of born to play it. Good morning. That's Jorge. Good morning. Where it's like the strong woman with the guns. It really added to the movie. Megan to me was very much shoot first, ask questions later kind of girl. And I felt like anytime she had a gun in her hand, that nobody was safe.
Right, exactly.
Just her partner, and that was it. Like,
right, exactly. And just everyone on her side.
Right.
You
But
know?
yeah, the characters of that town, I think one of my favorite scenes was when the sheriff kind of like called in the troops, and like all these kind of rednecks showed up, and there must have been 5 different groups of people that were all out to hunt you guys.
Right.
And they all kind of had their own dynamic. Like there's a group of ladies, there was a group of guys. There was one that like, he was like, when did you guys get here? He's like, oh, I didn't want you to see us. You know what I mean? So it's like they had their own internal drama, but then they had drama with each other. So that's kind of like how I saw like Smoking Aces. They were all this hit squad, but they all had their own like specialties.
Yeah.
Going out into the bush to come find you. And I was like,
right.
The dialogue for them was probably the funniest stuff. Like I was just cracking up.
It is really funny. Like something I really like about the movie. When we were all, especially a lot of my dialogue wasn't necessarily the most comedic stuff, you know, when we were doing it. But surprisingly, so much of this movie turned out to be really funny too. You know, as well as like we achieved a lot of these action scenes. So it was really fun. Like the first time we all watched it during the premiere, we were like, this is hilarious, you know, and it was like, it was cool and it was fun and it was, you know, full of action and it was hilarious. And I loved, especially like their dialogue was written to be funny. And I asked Greg about it and he said, he was like, you know, it always sneaks into my movies. He's like, even if I don't want it to, it always sneaks in the comedy.
That really worked out well. And I got to say, I was laughing out loud at different times in the movie, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The fights, the stunts. Did you have a stunt coordinator?
Yeah, we did. So we had, we did have a stunt coordinator. We had a fight choreographer and stunt coordinator that was on set with us. Yeah, so it was, you know, we had some pretty intense like stunt days. And it was a lot of fun to do. And it, you know, nobody got hurt. Nobody got like seriously injured, which was incredibly surprising. I was really, really surprised. You know, especially like our last day, we were shooting in the maze, you know, when they're running through the maze in the film, and people were sinking like a foot in the mud. And we were running like, and it was also full of like, everything was decomposing. You know, this is like kind of that kind of area. It's just wet mud and sticks and stuff. So it was like, you're sinking in the mud and you're also running over, you know, mud and sticks. So, or like, and also through like these rock structures. And we were just like, someone's going to get hurt. Like, and I knew it too. I was like, I can't roll my ankle right now. I was like, I have to wait till the end.
Oh my God. Yeah. And it's so funny. It's like all production comes to a halt when someone sprains an ankle. And it's like, dang it.
I know. And yeah, that was something, it was definitely something that we were super mindful of because we didn't, you know, like if we had to keep production going or halt production for something like that, you know, it would have cost a lot of money.
Right.
So we were like being really careful.
Did you have like a whole day of just running scenes? Were they like, okay, run here and now run here? And
yeah, I was talking about this, I think like last night. Those were actually some of the harder scenes for me because I don't sprint. Like I can long distance run. And also for this role, I wasn't really training with like sprints. I was like doing like, you know, biking and jogging, like long distance stuff. And then like mostly weight training and like a little bit of boxing and stuff. So, you know, getting on set and having so many days where we were doing like sprints, that was like the thing that really wrecked me. I'd be sore. And the next day.
It's one thing to do sprints and it's another thing to do sprints in the costume, right? Because a lot of times like your costume, A, is not flexible, or B, they pile all this crap on you, like weapons and stuff. And it's like, it's clanking on you and it's just doing so I can imagine that, you know, even if you had trained, it's like once they put you on set and put you in all the gear, it's just like, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah, and it's
So
also just, that where the amount of takes you have to do. And then
yeah.
you get the angles. So you're doing like you're not just doing a few sprints, like you're doing like an hour of sprints. Like and you're holding up production if you take too long to like recover in between. So it was like
Right.
more intense than, I even thought.
Yeah, I was watching the run. I was like, there's a lot of running. I was like, she's
Yeah.
running, he's running, everybody's running. I was just like, that was a long day.
Yeah.
I feel you. But you had kind of mentioned some of the prep that you did for this movie, which is also super important. Everybody has seen like Keanu Reeves prepping for John Wick. You know what I mean? And there's a ton of guns. Obviously, the name is called Guns of Eden. Did you go to the range? Did you spend time shooting? Like, what was your experience with that?
Yeah, so I mean, I have a lot in my life. My brother is 13 years older than me and joined the military when he was like 18.
Okay.
So, and he's still in the military. So my whole childhood, especially spending time with him, he was teaching me how to shoot different types of guns and exposing me to that kind of stuff a lot. So I had already had a lot of exposure to it. And even in auditioning for the role, I was like, guys, I know how to handle guns already. And they were like, oh, that's great, because that's not
Right.
really like a given thing. Like, especially, I come from New York City. Like,
Yeah.
if I was born and raised here, that wouldn't, you can't assume.
Right.
So it was helpful in that sense. So then it really came down to like just like physical training, which was mostly just like heavier weight training and like boxing. I did a little bit of kickboxing. So like that kind of stuff, just so I was not stupid looking in hand to hand.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did your fight choreographer kind of like walk you through all that stuff? Like,
Yeah. So the thing about them is like they'll teach you, how to cheat it for the camera, but they can't teach you, in the moment, especially like they can't teach you how to have great form immediately. So there is like, I prepare a little bit and then they prepare and then we meet somewhere in the middle where it's like, all right, I know what a punch looks like. And then they're going to show me how to fake it for the camera and how to not hurt, the actor I'm working with.
that's half the battle sometimes.
Yeah.
I actually had I managed a fight team. We used to choreograph fight scenes for a small production in Detroit. So that's kind of like
awesome.
My knowledge of that. So yeah, I used to do that, and we did like a whole short film where we choreographed and we put together. It was like 7 minutes of just fights, and it took like hours of filming. And so I mean, like, I feel your pain when it comes to like preparing for all these action shots and let's do it again. It's like, how many times do I got to run up this damn wall? Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. But it's, it's fun. Ultimately it's fun, like
mm-hmm.
it's a cool, job to have.
Yeah. And when they film it right and it just makes you look badass. That's that cool, like, sit in the crowd and let people are watching it. And it's like, they give you that reaction. You're like, okay, that was worth all the pain and suffering,
Yeah,
exactly. The actually hits the way it's supposed to.
Right.
So
exactly.
I wanted to ask too about the location. That was a really awesome place to shoot. I know you said it was muddy, but I mean, like, they had real cool rock formations to play in and like open fields and lots of forest. Where exactly was that?
This was all in Buffalo, New York, and like the surrounding areas of Buffalo, New York. So the downtown stuff was shot entirely in downtown Buffalo. And then the rest of it was shot, within 30, 45 minutes of there. So this was an entire Buffalo film. This was my first time in Buffalo too. So it was so cool to see like really what it has to offer. I was like, wow, and then we're finding out like how many productions are utilizing Buffalo now, because it's just a different, looking place. It's really cool. And it's super, super film friendly. So we were lucky with that. But really like, the production team, they scouted out those locations to make sure that they were dynamic and that it wasn't just all woods, because everything happened in the woods, but it's really easy to be like, didn't I already see that tree? Like,
yeah.
So they spent a lot of time looking for different textures. So we used a lot of different parks.
That's cool. Was it all one park or was it different locations?
different. Yeah, all
Gotcha.
different locations. So a few days we'd be in this park, and then a few days we'd be out at this park, and so on and so forth.
I had no idea that Buffalo had that kind of topography. When I was looking at it, it just reminded me. I was born and raised in Michigan, and now I'm in Texas. But it looks like Michigan, like rural Michigan, or like I would say Pennsylvania, where it's like it's really diverse. So I'm surprised that it's New York, but of course I don't know a lot about New York, so there goes shows like how much I know.
Yeah, I mean, even I live in the city in New York City, just a little bit south, and it's a lot south. It's really different. So even if you go just like I'll go like an hour and a half upstate, and that looks really different than Buffalo looks.
Yeah,
because Buffalo is basically Canada. Like we're there.
You're right.
Like you can literally walk over the border at Niagara Falls, and cross over.
Awesome.
So it's super, super different. It's one of those things where, especially during the summer, because it is a little bit further north, it wasn't super, super hot. It was actually really nice. And I was like, oh, this would be like a really good, little vacation. You do some hiking, you go to Niagara Falls. Like, it's a really, really pretty area.
Yeah, I would definitely want to go visit. It looks like a nice place to camp until you run into the rednecks.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, don't do it. Don't run into the rednecks.
Literally.
But yeah, overall, I had a real fun time watching the film. I wanted to ask you, like, what did you do to get into that, like, Rambo kind of mind frame? Because once, like, towards the end, I'm not going to spoil the movie, but like towards the end, when you're like hunting them,
yeah,
like had this serious look. What kind of was going through your mind when you were doing that?
That's like I guess that's a pretty complicated answer, in the characters, I was living in the character's mindset of like, all right, like you've done X, Y, and Z to me. And now like I'm going to be the justice of this situation. Like I'm taking it into my own hands. And it's like, that's really the big moment for that character. And she's, where she says like, I'm not being hunted anymore. This is my fight now, cause you've done all of this. I know you're wrong. And now she's found like this purpose finally, she's been searching for this purpose throughout the movie, that is like one of her big struggles is searching for like really what drives her in life and why is she doing what she's doing. And, ultimately she wants to do the right thing and she wants justice. And she's, obviously struggling with the idea of justice throughout the movie. And now she's like, I don't care if, people hate me for this. I know what's right. And I'm going to go get, these people. So, and it's really easy when you're thinking about these types of people when they're, they're talking about, Black people, like they're different types of people, like,
it was
so
like,
it's really
there's a bunch
easy,
of people here and one of them's Black. And I was just like, oh God.
Hating on minorities, hating on women, just like discrimination. So, saying like, okay, I'm going after these people, like that's such a real thing for me because that stuff really gets under my skin. So being like, these people are really just like garbage people. And I'm going to go like do a service to the world right now by getting rid of them. That was kind of what put me in the right mindset.
Man, and Megan 100% cleans house, people. So yeah, Pops had put up the link. Here it is one more time. Whoops. I'll push the button. There we go. So you can see this movie right now. I went and saw it. All you have to do is go to Amazon Prime, and Guns of Eden is there. You can rent or buy and see Alexandra kick ass and take names, but less names and more kicking ass. I brought my combat knife. Here it is. In solidarity of her kicking ass and taking names. So she goes full on Rambo in this movie. If that's something you want to see, trust me, I really enjoyed it. So you would like it too. It was a good time. Go watch this movie so you can see. And now that you know, like the mindset of Megan, it will make such more sense. Not that it doesn't make sense, but like understanding that character from the actor's point of view, I think is so cool. So yeah, I'll watch it again. That. So
thank you.
It's
I
really
appreciate
neat.
That.
Yeah. I was also looking at your IMDb page. Is that what pops? Yeah, there we are. Here's Guns of Eden for everybody if you want to purchase it. Ooh, it's 12% off today. But look at this poster, people. Oh my gosh. Like, that would be so cool to have. I need to like Photoshop my face. No, just kidding. Like, that's such a badass pose. Amazing. Like, you get to shoot all the guns too. So
yeah,
you know what?
it was really, that was really a cool experience. Like all the different types of guns.
Yeah. And that's cool that you kind of had like a background in that, just so like they didn't have to spend much time teaching you all the things. Because I gotta say, it is very apparent when someone doesn't have that kind of background.
Yeah, it's upsetting. I see it in movies all the time, you know, because actors don't necessarily know how to shoot guns. Like a lot of actors don't even believe in guns. You know,
that's okay, but then don't take a role in a movie called Guns of Eden, right?
Right.
Leave that for the people that know what they're doing.
Right. Exactly. So at least, you know, I think it's just like such an important little thing where like it is so obvious if you've never shot a gun, like the way you hold it and stuff. Like, and that's with anything. It's literally with anything. If you haven't done it, it's like smoking a cigarette in a movie. If you've never smoked a cigarette, you don't know how to smoke a cigarette, you know, like,
right.
So it's like,
and sometimes that can take you out of the movie. You know what I mean?
That's the problem.
So
that's definitely the problem.
That's why, people like yourself, it's like, bravo. Like all your gun work was amazing. I bought it like 100%, which was amazing.
I'm glad.
So yeah, people go check this movie out. I wanted to bring up your IMDb page if that's all right with you.
Sure.
Is that okay? Okay. Because I want to hear like, what are you up to? Maybe some of the things that you've done that you want to talk about. Here she is, people. Like your page is really cool. Like your demo reel, watch your demo reel was awesome.
Thank you.
You have lots of stuff upcoming too. I was like, holy moly. Look at all this stuff in post-production or in production. I was like, so you're working hard, man. Let's see. There's so much stuff here. What out of like this list I'm looking at that's completed, did you really enjoy, or do you have like a crazy story about?
I have one that, you know, we just kind of finished up. It's called Bound. It's towards the top. So that one was a crazy production. We went into production like a month or two after we finished shooting Guns of Eden. Then we finished earlier this year. And this was a passion project. So this was my first piece producing as well. My first feature producing. So this one was a labor of love. And it was a very, very different type of movie. But also, you know, one of the most challenging things I think I've ever worked on, one of the more transformative things I've ever worked on. So this one's going to be done probably in a few months, and then we're going to hit the festival circuit.
Yeah. And just for people that don't understand festival circuit, it goes to that first, and then a lot of times they have to wait until it's judged before it can be released to the public. So that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be able to see this right away, but we will eventually, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this one's probably, you know, one of the, I would say this one and Guns of Eden are some of the, you know, I'm more proud of, not more proud, but like these are some of the bigger ones that were really, really big experiences and labors of love to work on.
That's cool. In order to escape her drug dealing, abusive stepfather, a young introvert flees to New York City. Yeah. After successfully reinventing herself, she realizes she must confront her dark past to truly be free. Yeah, that sounds deep. That sounds like there's a lot of emotional work that went into this one.
Right. Yeah. This is the kind of one that everyone, like, once we finished, we were like, "Ooh, that almost killed us." Like that it was a hard, for a lot of people, this was a really, really hard piece. I have never been on a more upsetting set.
Yeah. That's hard when you have to spend a whole day being in a certain emotion. You know what I mean? Like being enraged or being, you know, pensive, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Do you I've heard a lot of actors and actresses utilize music to kind of get them into that headspace. Have you done that for yourself?
Yeah, you know, that it's a thing I think that works for a lot of actors. I tried it out back when I was younger, when I was still kind of learning and finding, you know, like my method. And it gets me in one time, and it's when I'm in real time listening to the music, and it's really hard. You know, if I was going to go do a play, I feel like I could listen to a song, get myself into it, and then go and then stay in it. But the fact that, you know, we have to do like take after take after take, that one was a hard one to train. So for me, it became mostly about imagination and like manipulating my mind with the imagination, and just really believing that the imaginary is your reality. That's kind of where I found my my method.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to do, especially like green screen, I know is like a thing, you know, like where it's hard to, you know, you don't even have any context clues to act or to play off. And it's like, I don't know how people can just do green screen work. I couldn't. But still, like you said, being in the moment and believing whatever kind of stress in front of you is real. That's why people pay actors, people. Yeah. Because normal people can't do this. It's a skill. It has to be developed just like anything else. So yeah, I'm really interested to see this one. So you have to make sure you keep in contact with us so that when it goes and people can see it, that we can post it and we can all come and enjoy it, or be upset by it or whatever.
Yeah, enjoy.
Feel the feels.
Yeah, this is like, you know, the way I kind of describe this one, and I've been describing it, is this movie was kind of like, this is the voice for the misfit toys, this movie. Oh. So it, you know, it hits home for a lot of people, especially that work in the arts. You know, they can identify with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people in general, not just artists, but I think artists lean into it a little bit more. But I think a lot of people feel like they don't belong pretty often. Because humans are just so crazy and weird and different that it's really easy to feel like that. And we want to feel like we belong.
I feel you hit that nail on the head with this group. 'Cause I feel like we're just a big eclectic family of dysfunctional siblings. I don't know. But yeah, it's like we as artists feel like, yeah, we don't belong. Are you working on any horror movies?
No, but I do want to. You know, I'm in this pursuit right now to find like the perfect horror movie. I'm so interested in finding like this, you know, this amazing horror script to do, because I watch horror movies, you know, and I've talked to people about, you know, like the genre itself, like, and I do enjoy it a lot. But I think it's challenging to really, really scare people. And I think you need a good concept to really scare people, because the jump scare isn't going to live with you forever. So the concept will. So I'm, you know, currently in pursuit of finding the perfect horror script for me.
Well, that's cool. We love horror here on this channel. Yeah. I'm a big horror fan. I write a comic book that's a zombie Western apocalypse. So awesome. It's a whole big mishmash of things together. But there's also another show on this channel that's the Horror Movie Fan Club. Mm-hmm. And they every week will watch a horror movie that's not behind a paywall. Mm-hmm. And so people can watch it, and then they all get on there and they talk about it. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of fun. We get to watch all sorts of stuff, and then they kind of critique it and talk about what was good and what was bad.
That's amazing.
But you're right. It's so hard to really have an impactful, scary movie that will like stick with you. Because a lot of times those jump scares are just like, meh, you know, or the movie just doesn't resonate. What's the last horror movie that you watched that resonated with you? And I'll share mine too.
I think it was Mother. Mother was the last one I watched that really hit me.
Is that the Guillermo del Toro one or the one with Jennifer Lawrence?
And it was weird because I actually didn't even realize it was a horror immediately.
Which one was it?
Yeah, it was really upsetting. The one with Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, with that one. Yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't Del Toro. It was Aronofsky. Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah, that one. I've seen both, but I was just like, which one?
Yeah, Darren Aronofsky.
There's certain
not that.
Yeah, that.
Sorry, I don't know why I said yes immediately without thinking.
Oh.
Yeah, this one, and even, you know, I've heard Mother. Darren Aronofsky. I've heard Jennifer Lawrence talking about this role, and you know, it's very upsetting for her. you know, she was like, I will never do a role like this again. Like, you know, and it really, really hit her, and you can tell. And like the movie itself is really disturbing. And the thing I liked about this one, because I actually watched Hereditary more recently, and I know Hereditary got a lot more, you know, like praise within the horror community. I'm pretty sure than Mother. I've heard actually some not good things about Mother. The thing that actually stuck with me about Mother is I didn't realize how terrifying it was when I watched it. I realized how scary it was afterwards, when the themes started kind of soaking into my brain and I started understanding it a little bit more. Whereas Hereditary it was very much immediate fear.
Yeah. Well, that one was scary too, but that one was like,
I was, you know, like, and it still makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
It was like, okay?
You know, can you hear me okay, Alexandra? Can you hear me? Are we?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we're back to the delay again. I don't know. It seems weird.
A little bit.
I was going to say,
not as bad as it was.
Okay. The last movie, did you see Smile?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. That one was a good one too. It had the jump scares in it, but there was so much more behind it, where there was like psychological things going on. The camera work was great, where they like the camera would start one way and like turn upside down, and it just made you feel like claustrophobic and off kilter. So like I appreciate not just the acting and the story, but like the camera work. He had all sorts of Easter egg in there, where like there were smiles on the mug, smiles on the walls, smiles on her earrings, or it was just like it was constant bombarding you with this concept of the smile no longer being safe. I would recommend that one. And it is a jump scare movie, and like I knew the jumps were coming and I still jumped. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is a jump, this is a jump, this is a jump. But when it would happen, I was still like, you know. So I mean, movies that can do that, I think, are still, you know, really good. But that one sat with me for a while, because the whole concept of something that should be friendly, like a smile, becoming weaponized. Whoo, right. That was rough. So
wow. Did you ever see
differently?
Candyman?
The new one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. Have you?
That one was really good too.
Yeah.
And within the same vein as what you're talking about, with a lot of the hidden, you know, things in the background, was Bly Manor. I think it was Bly Manor, or Haunting of Hill House. It was a series. I think it was Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, yeah. That one was great.
Yeah, there are two of them. It's I think it's like the Haunting of Hill House, and then Bly Manor. I can't remember if it's the Haunting of Bly Manor, but it's two different seasons. And they do that a lot. They, you know, implement that, the hidden, you know, the amount of like dead people you see in the background, but you don't really see. So you always have this sense of unease, but you don't know why.
Yeah. So cool. And Hereditary did that too. Like when they go and tell you about the Easter eggs, where they're like, go, you know, when it's the far shot of the woods, there's actually people standing in the woods naked, but your eye isn't drawn to them. It's just to the house, and they don't move. So you don't realize they're there until you go back and watch it again. It's like,
and it's just like, but it's good. It's, you know, it's creepy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we need more good horror out there. So I hope you do find that script, so we can enjoy not only good horror, but you as well, acting and screaming and doing whatever. Hopefully you can be the final girl. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. I think I proved I can be the final girl doing Megan.
I think so.
I think I've proven myself.
Right. So do you see yourself going into more like action? Is action just kind of what you fell into? You know, I know, because people kind of get like typecast into genre.
Yeah.
What are you thinking for yourself? Do you just want to like do everything to kind of like showcase your skill set, or do you want to specialize? What are you thinking? Uh-oh, did I freeze? Did you? There you are.
I didn't hear past the typecast.
Okay. So I know a lot of people get typecast into certain genres, unfortunately, but what are you thinking for yourself? Are you trying to do a little bit of everything to kind of showcase your skill set, or are you trying to like do action? What are you thinking for your future?
I would love to keep doing action.
Yeah.
But at the same time doing, trying new things. A really big thing that I enjoy doing is trying out new characters, new genres, and really experimenting and being challenged. Because I think when people are scared and they haven't done something before, like it's really, really dynamic to watch on camera. So, for me, like I love thrillers too, like drama thrillers. And, it's a place that I've had a tendency to like be very good in, just, because I'm an emotional person. And I'm just like a dramatic person, I guess. So I always enjoy doing those. And I'm a big fan of movies like Fight Club and like American History X and, like that kind of stuff. So I want to be part of those like kind of culty, edgy movies. But I do want to explore a little bit. I love fantasy. I love horror. And sci-fi and stuff like that. So I would love to keep doing action movies, but also be challenged and put into different places. Like I had a guy that I was, he's a filmmaker, and I was interviewing with him about Guns of Eden, and he, we started talking about comedy, and he's like, have you done comedy? Because Guns of Eden's funny, but it wasn't really written as a comedy. It was just like, it was written as an action that had comedic, some comedic moments in it. It wasn't written like for a comedian. It was written for like, a straight actor that's, everyone's kind of playing off of. And I was like, I actually do think comedy would be great to try, because I think that's one of the things I'm more afraid of, is to do comedy, because it's, you really put yourself out there when you do comedy, and you run the risk of people not laughing, right? Which is terrifying. And I think stand-up comedians, like, they have one of the hardest jobs in the world, which is like a very loaded thing to say, but it's terrifying. You tell anybody to go up on stage and tell jokes and make everyone laugh, they'll have a heart attack.
Yeah. I mean, comedy is a lot more dynamic than people realize, because there's the whole setup of the joke. There's pacing and timing involved with the words in the setup, and then, putting the punchline out there and then letting it breathe. It's like you have to have that timing to it, and that sense of when to say things, when to pause, when to play off the audience, stuff like that. I would never try to do that myself. But it's something that's, I think, is outside of my skill set. Like,
so that's kind of where I'm at, is, I'd like to keep doing action. Like I love doing action. I think it's so fun. I think it's so fun to do on set, and I love that, the physicality of it. But I, would like to like dip my toes into like a little bit of everything for now, to see really where like my soul kind of can flourish the best, and where people receive everything the best.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to try everything, I say, just to make sure, you could find your niche on something that maybe you didn't know was your niche.
Exactly.
So, hey, it's Alexandra. RJ says hi.
Oh, he can hear me. Hi, RJ. I said, tell him I say hi. Like we're not like on here right now.
Yeah, just did. Would you ever play a comic book character, like a Marvel character?
That's such a dream.
Is it?
Yeah. So I specifically have like I've always wanted to play Poison Ivy.
Oh.
That's like, since I've been a little girl, I've wanted to be Poison Ivy, which is kind of messed up, like, because she kills people, but like,
no.
And I also think she really hasn't been done well, except for, I think the best that she's been done, obviously in the comic books, but also the Harley Quinn show. That's the
animated.
Best I've seen her. And it's really upsetting, because in the Arkham video games, like, she's done really well too. But in like these live actions, I'm like, dang, she's like so boring in these. And she's not at all. And I'm like, she's like,
Alexandra, we love you. Us people from the comic world are like, God dang it, DC, do your movies better. Like,
literally,
they just terrible. Hi, Pastmaster Dan. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, they really like Aquaman made me upset. Made me really upset. I was like,
Really?
what? Yeah, like that one was trash. Like,
Oh no! And Aquaman was one of the better ones, you know.
I know it really was. Like, because like the Superman movies were just, I don't
Oh
even like Superman versus Batman. I was like, what?
no!
I was like, what is this movie, right? Because you want to like it so much because I am more of a DC fan at heart.
Are you?
Because DC's like darker and like they're just like
Yeah.
they're like these just really angry gods, you know, that are raining down.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's very much like within the world that I like. But it's really so disappointing. Um, so yeah,
I-
Poison Ivy would be, you know, Poison Ivy from comic books would be like who I would want to play, and hopefully one day will. And then there's an anime character, which I don't know if this is politically incorrect to want to play her, but it's always been a dream of mine, is Princess Mononoke from
yes,
from the
yes.
Miyazaki movie. Yeah,
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
yeah,
You
me
gotta
too.
love Miyazaki.
Oh,
All the Studio Ghibli, but I mean, like that was one of the first ones that I watched before, like My Neighbor Totoro and
right.
like
Me too.
Ponyo, Princess Mononoke. That would
Wow.
be so great for you.
I know.
Like,
And see, like I'm in this place where I'm like, wow, I'd really like to do this, but are people going to be like, this is politically incorrect?
oh,
And this is
because
like such a weird topic I've talked about with anime, is like, because I'm a big Full Metal Alchemist fan, and they're not all Asian in Full Metal Alchemist. Like they draw them different races.
right.
And I'm like, so they're not always just drawing, you know, Asian people. Like it's a very diverse, a lot of them are very diverse. And I know we get really
Yeah.
mad at the whitewashing when we bring these to live action. And so I wonder, you know, as a fan, I'm just like, you know, like, where is the line? Like, are we allowed to create more of a diverse cast, or is it still going to be hated on because it is like, you know, like an, I think you know what I mean.
I mean, I feel you. It's like I don't know, I'm kind of like stuck between the two, you know what I mean? Where it's like, I want things to be inclusive and I want roles that are inherently people of color to be played by people of color. But again, it's a character and we're acting.
Yeah.
So whoever is the best fit for that role should be the one playing it. So you know what I mean? Where it's kind of a hard line to walk these days where, I mean, and unfortunately, I think if anybody can, doesn't matter what we put out these days, there's going to be criticism because people like to be angry. But when
I just don't want to offend large groups of people, you know, like if I cannot, like, you know, the random trolls, I don't really care too much about because like I'll troll them back, but like, you know, with large groups of people, like different, you know, races or like cultures, like I don't really want to just be like, like,
yeah, it's not right.
You know what I mean? So, but those are like the two. So like one's like an anime and one's like a DC comic.
That's awesome. I could totally see you as an X-Man too. It's like there's plenty of characters out there that we could pick because they're going to be, I'm sure they're going to be doing X-Men movies pretty soon at Marvel because they said they're already going to bring them. So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think I'd have a lot of fun doing any of that stuff. I mean, I think I fit into that world pretty well. So it's just like, you know, and it's all fun. You know, like all of the superheroes or supervillains, they're all fun to play. You know, like you get cool costumes, you get superpowers, you know. You're
absolutely
like, you know, doing badass stuff all the time. So really anything would be fun.
You know, it's interesting to me that this is true. Claire Danes did voice her, and I mean, her appearance was one way, Lee. So it just depends on. It's like people were pretty upset with what was her name for playing Major Kusanagi in Ghost in the Shell. What's her name?
Scarlett. Yeah, see, that's what I was about to reference is Scarlett Johansson playing.
Yeah,
but she also brought a lot of money to that movie.
I know that was their star power. They needed someone that was going to be an A-lister to put into that role to bring people to see the movie. But then they had to like come up with a way that it made sense that she was Major Kusanagi, and people were still upset. So I mean, I don't know.
I mean, Well, also, like, you know, the people that like anime, they have like a large respect for the culture itself as well. For the most part,
Yeah.
everyone I know that's really into it really, really respects the culture in general. So like, it makes sense, you know. And it is like, if you like anime, you love anime. Like,
Right. This is true.
it's not like, oh, I kind of like it. It's like, no, like I binge watched, you know, like Death Note and Bleach and whatever, you know.
What are you thinking about this? X23, an adult X23?
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm. And
That
you
would be
look like
so
her, so that would work.
Yeah, that would be so fun. I had someone once tell me, and this is in the Marvel world, that I would be a good, I think it was Black Cat from
Black
Spider-Man.
Cat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah. But I think
Yes.
it's I would love to do it. I would prefer to be in like the DC world because I'm more of a DC fan, but I wouldn't, limit it.
Right. I think Zoe Kravitz did okay as the Catwoman in the
She
new
was
rendition.
Such a hot Catwoman. Like,
I mean,
I was like
the chemistry between the two of them, like there was no kiss, but oh my God, were we pining for them? Like those I want to say pregnant pauses between their characters where he was just like so close,
right,
but wouldn't come in, and we're like,
yeah,
like just kiss her, right?
Like,
so
he played like emo Batman. He played like that classic like skinny white boy that like hates everything, that every girl like secretly like loves. He's like, I hate everyone, like I want to die, and they're like, oh my God, you're so hot. Like, he played that guy as Batman. And then I
gotta say though, when he was Batman, like I really enjoyed like his broody silence as Batman. But when he took his mask off and he was like, Alfred, you're not my father, I was like, oh my God, like he's a teenager. Like, make it stop.
I know. I don't know. I love Robert Pattinson too. So it's like, the whole thing, like, I'm not going to comment on the casting. I think they're both great actors, both beautiful people. I'm always going to be partial to Nolan's Batman though. I
think everybody will be. He kind of set the bar
for
Batman, a more gritty, more realistic approach to what Batman would be like, as opposed to the cartoony, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, holy metal rocks, Batman. Like, come on, like, I know we're paying homage to our comic book roots, but it was campy, right?
Yeah.
It was campy.
Yeah, exactly. Some things translate better in certain mediums too.
Right. I agree. Speaking of medium, this is something I thought was really interesting. And comic books that influence movies, which then influence comic books, which then influence movies. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like our worlds are connected and make us work harder based off of the good material that comes out. You know what I mean? Because all these good comics that can become good movies, which then in turn like challenge us to make better comics, which then can turn into better movies. So I just thought that was interesting. It's like we're all connected.
And it's like a cycle.
What? Say that again. What was that? I'm Batman. Keaton is still my favorite, of course. Pops, you're from that day and age, so we're a little younger than you. So Christian Bale, all the way.
Yeah, Christian Bale all the way, just in general. Like,
I mean,
he's crazy and I love him.
Keaton Batman was okay, but I mean, like, do we really like the Danny DeVito Penguin?
You know how much I love Danny DeVito.
I mean, like, it's okay to love Danny DeVito and not love his Penguin.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
right?
Oh man, I wish I could meet Danny DeVito. He's like he's such a weird person to want to meet. I don't want to meet one of my heroes. I want to meet like the most amazing small man I've ever seen on TV. I'm just Danny DeVito.
We're gonna clip that.
He's like a hero in a way.
Who said that? Halle Berry Catman? You're fired. You're fired.
She was good. I mean, I don't think there's been like a really bad Catwoman. I know Anne Hathaway's Catwoman got not a great
Halle
response.
Berry's Catwoman movie?
I mean, the movie wasn't great, but her as Catwoman was, it was.
I'm gonna say
definitely like top tier.
Halle Berry and John Wick was
Aesthetically
way
top
superior. What's that?
Right. I was saying aesthetically, she was top tier for sure.
Right.
The movie itself, obviously, a little bit, yeah.
She was beautiful. However, the movie, not so much. Didn't she earn like 14 Razzies or something? It was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. People really hated Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. And now I'm remembering how much people hated it. Because that was like, I was younger when that one came out. People were like, Anne Hathaway is the worst Catwoman. And I'm like, really? Like, because I love her as an actress, but I even watch it and I'm like, I kind of get it. Like, she's not a bad actress, but there was just something a little bit off about it where I was just like, no, I get it. Like, because she's sexy, but she's not like a sex pot. You look at her and you're like, she's a beautiful woman, but like, I wouldn't like imagine her playing like such a sexual character necessarily. I don't know. Like, it's weird because I've seen her play sexy characters, but there's something about Catwoman where she's just like, she like drips, she's like dripping in sex appeal.
Right.
And Anne Hathaway, like, I think like is a little bit of a different type because she's still a beautiful, sexy woman, but it's like a little bit of a different type. Like, not in the same world. Okay. Because every other Catwoman's been like this really like sexual woman, like that. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to explain it fully, but
yeah, but that's that character. That's exactly that character. Like, they're just they what do I want to say? Epitomize? Is that the right word? Mm-hmm. Where they're the epitome of like sexual, celestial body.
Desire,
you know what I mean?
And like sexuality.
They're just that character for sure. So if she and I can see that now that you mention it. I really had no opinion of Anne Hathaway being Catwoman, but that's kind of an opinion of itself. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, I didn't really care about her performance whatsoever, which means that it didn't resonate with me at all. So out of that movie, I wasn't really watching her. I was watching Christian Bale and Tom Hardy. And that's kind of what stuck
Tom
with
Hardy
me.
in that movie.
Amazing.
I loved what he did with Bane. When I first saw it, I was like, this is weird. And then it grew on me.
Like the mask.
And just the voice. I remember the voice choice that he had made for the character. And I was like, it was like, I wanted to laugh. And then, really quickly, I started really appreciating like that choice. And I was just like, no, I love it, actually. I love it. Like,
I thought it was great. A lot of people had a hard time understanding him.
Yeah.
And because the mask was blocking his mouth, people couldn't use, like lip reading to assist.
Right.
Didn't go back and did captions. Or did they not?
What?
Did they add captions to the movie? I can't remember. I haven't watched it in a while.
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did.
Also,
either.
I don't remember. But I don't think they did.
But that was a great ending to that movie too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good ending. Man, I love those movies.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be so hard. Like, that really set the tone for live action Batman for me. It's gonna be so hard to beat that one. Like, it doesn't matter how much CGI you use, like unless someone can really compete with Nolan's Batman movies in general, like that's gonna always be my favorite.
I wonder though, because they're gonna continue making Batman movies. They will. It's like they're not gonna stop making Batman. That has, the biggest audience draw for DC, more than Superman, more than any of the other Justice Leaguers. So they're going to continue. So it's like, I wonder how many times they have to change, and they're going to have to change drastically, because if they try to imitate Nolan, it's not going to live up to it. Right. So it's like, we're going to be getting all these different versions of Batman. I wonder, do they give it a break for a while? Or I don't think they will.
I don't think they will.
I wonder if they can do what if they could do like Batman Beyond or something like different time frame for Batman? There's so many Batman stories. If we did something different for a while, then we can come back to like the Batman, the young Batman, the detective.
Right, like the origin story.
Yeah.
I wish they would just give it a rest for a little while. But I know just for the sake of money, they'll never do that. And he is literally the biggest draw. I know, like, what is it? Henry Cavill's coming back as Superman.
Right.
And
well, everything kind of got put on hold when that they switched, what is it? Showrunners.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. Lee.
Yo, I love Danny DeVito so much. Like, he is kind of my hero, I think.
In what context, Lee, would we have a Danny DeVito Batman? Please,
this is like,
write that script and send it to DC. Lee is a comic book writer like myself. So if you write that, I want to read it.
This is like Batman when he's given up. You know, he's just like, let himself go.
Or he tells people he's Batman and nobody believes him.
Right, yeah, exactly. You know, like, you find out that Batman is just schizophrenic this whole time. and he's been running around in like this leather suit and everybody's just like, this guy, like, this guy? And then you finally see that he's just like this crazy, like, Danny DeVito. Right. And he's just like creating a comic book in his head.
Or like he's battling these the bad guys, but the bad guys are really stupid. So like where we think Batman is really smart and like doing all these cool things, it's really just the bad guys effing up, and he just kind of like shows up and captures them. Lee, do it.
Oh my god. I really do. I think he's great. I love actors like that are just like, who is
You're just gonna take the cast of It's Sunny,
of Always Sunny,
and put them in.
You know how often I like sing like that Dayman Nightman song?
Oh no.
And you know how many people don't know that song? You know, like,
how can you
so
not?
I it's just crazy to me because it was such a big part of my life, like that whole bit that they did. And I end up showing everyone on YouTube this song, you know, and they're like, oh, what is this? And I'm like, what? This is crazy to me that you don't know this. This is like, you know, top tier.
Like, shut up and watch this. This will make your life better.
Yeah, literally. Just make everyone uncomfortable.
Oh no, Lee. No.
I'm dead. I'm so dead. I actually wish we could take the whole cast of Always Sunny and just put them in different DC characters. Just like ridiculous DC characters.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
We could totally just drop them into different situations.
Like, what happens when the superheroes aren't so super?
Hey, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
This is a comic book group, and we have lots of artists in this group, and one has offered to draw your likeness, possibly as a comic book character, maybe Poison Ivy.
Sure.
Oh,
yeah, I would love that.
Yes.
That would be so cool.
Hold on 1 second. Let me see here. Should we just have him draw it? I'll talk to Pops. I'll talk to Pops about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if
that would be really cool.
You can go on my social media. You can just have it my social media, or you can watch Guns of Eden.
Right? I was like, pick a post from Guns of Eden because that's badass.
Right? Yeah, that's a good. Especially the outfits, very like, you know, like sexy, badass kind of tight stuff. Like,
but draw you as Megan. He could draw you as really anything because they're that talented. Pop says maybe on a draw stream on Sunday. Oh, okay, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
just make sure that Alexandra gets to see it because I'm sure she'd want to see it when he's done, and make sure that it's clean. Like, we don't want any parts hanging out. Thanks. We're gonna be respectful. I'm just gonna throw that out there just to make sure, because it's usually the men's who are drawing you. So
Right? No,
protect
literally,
my
like
girl.
in comic book, women are just like ridiculous looking. Like,
I know. We call them celestial bodies.
right. Yeah, they
But
are. That's
seriously,
exactly.
I know. My comic book, there is no celestial bodies at this moment. So I'm like, maybe I should draw one.
Yeah.
And then someone can put it out there and might get more press. It's hard. It's hard. It's like when sex sells. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's
exactly.
hard.
Like so much too. You know, I just realized another character I was really obsessed with when I was younger. It was Raven from Teen
Yes.
Titans.
From Teen Titans. Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
I
Allie.
was
I hope you're watching, because my friend Allison just drew Raven not too long ago. She loves that character.
I actually
So
did like a cosplay when I was younger. I forgot all
really,
about that. I was really into her.
that's
But I don't
cool.
really fit that. I'm not like pale enough. Like I feel like I don't know, like it didn't work as well as I wanted it to. You know?
Yeah. But I mean, if you put the hood up, I mean,
You never know.
people can't see your
Just
face
hood
anyway.
over the face.
Send her to the link to the show on Sunday. Okay.
Sure.
Yes, sir. So do you do like Comic-Cons? Do you make appearances at shows and stuff like that?
I haven't, just because I'm not really in that. Like it's surprising because like I like the world, but I'm not really in the world too much. Like the most I've gone to Comic-Con is when I first got out of college, I worked with Trauma.
Mhm.
And that was kind of like my start. So I went to Comic-Con with Lloyd. And that was really the only time. But I'm interested in cosplaying. It's just something that I haven't done yet. Because it's
No, I
like
don't mean
it's
like as a
really
cosplayer. I mean like
what?
set up your table and people can come meet you.
Oh, for Guns of Eden?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
people
know.
do that all the time. Like, they set up a table at a Comic-Con. A lot of times the venue would want someone like yourself to set up a table, because you'll draw people to come meet you, and then like you can sign autographs and take pictures. People will pay you to have your autograph and to have pictures taken.
Wow. Yeah, maybe. It just got released, so like we don't really know like how we didn't know how it was going to get received initially. You just never know when you're releasing your project like how it's going to get received. But I think now like knowing that people are really enjoying it, like maybe next Comic-Con we'll do that.
Cool. There's a whole bunch out there, so like
Yeah,
it's a
I've only been to New York Comic-Con. I know my friend I think
Ooh.
went to the one in Chicago cuz I think there's one in Chicago, right?
Yeah,
I
they're
think
all
that's
over.
Yeah, like so she's really into that kind of stuff. Like so I know she was like she's really into Harry Potter. That's like her big thing. She's really into Harry Potter. Like I love Harry Potter, but not the way the people that are really into Harry Potter love Harry Potter.
Yeah, they have their own kind of
It's
fandom.
it's like a cult. And it's fantastic. Like, I'm watching these movies as a kid and I never realized it would turn into a literal cult.
Yeah. It really has. Like people make their own wands. Like I've seen custom made
like
wands.
it's really, but I mean, people are like that with Lord of the Rings too. So I can't even talk that much.
Right. Hey, we have friends who run the media cons in the Northeast. So yeah, we got you. If you want to go to some
Oh, I
cons with
love it.
us, our network is all over the United States. So if you ever want to go to some cons, you let us know.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
hook you
down.
up.
I love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. I hope you come down to Dallas Fan Expo so I can meet you in person.
Yeah, that'd be so. I've actually never been to Texas. I've flown through Texas and I've never gotten out. Like it was always a connection, So it's like, oh, we stop in Dallas. I think Dallas is like the big hub where everyone stops.
Yeah, it's kind of everybody's layover.
Yeah, so I've had a layover there, but never long enough to like get out and hang out. It's just like I'm in Texas. Okay, I'm leaving. Like, so I'd love to come visit. I think a lot of film is starting up in Texas too.
There's a lot of I think it's mostly in Houston where they run stuff. Like they were filming one of the Walking Dead spin-offs here for a while. I don't know if they're still filming, but yeah. Just casually.
I love Lloyd. You know how many interviews have turned into me talking about how much I love Lloyd? Like,
Please continue.
'cause
I'm sure Lee wants to hear all about Lloyd Kaufman.
I know, because he's like he is a legend.
Yeah.
He's like one of the most unique people I've ever met in my life. He's crazy. He's like legitimately crazy, but he's like intelligent crazy.
Oh
You know?
no, look at
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, you know, and he's just like, all of his movies are just like too much, like just you're just like, oh my god, what's going on, like all the time throughout the movie. But he knows what he's doing. Like he has like these really like deep political statements that he's making within the film. He's just like trying to also, you know, get the shock factor of every single moment.
I want to look at, let's see. I just went to his IMDb page, and let me tell you, have you seen his like bio picture? It's really funny.
No,
Where he's like
now I
holding a
wanna look.
camera, he's doing this face.
Oh yes, I know
That's
that.
what you
I know
put
that
as your
picture.
bio
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah, now I know that picture. Yeah, you know, and it's so funny. He like always. I was actually talking to someone yesterday, and he was like, "Wouldn't you want to see Lloyd like really get a big budget?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly what I want to see. I'm like currently campaigning so someone can give Lloyd $50 million to make a movie." Even $10 million, you know, even a few million, like just something like for a real movie budget.
Yeah.
So he can.
So for those of you who are not familiar, let me read some of his filmography just so you're aware. Buggers, Toxie versus Putin, Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie, Ouija Shark 2, like the Ouija board. Let's see.
Poultry Guys.
The Once and Future Smash.
Toxic Avenger.
Toxic Avenger is of course the big one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one. Poultrygeist.
Poultrygeist, The Most Atrocious Thing.
What is it? Surf Nazis? Something Surf Nazis?
Oh, they don't list that one.
And then Attack or Return to Nukem High was a big one for him.
Attack of Everything. Attack of the Killer Chicken. Attack of
it's so
After
funny.
School
You know,
Lunch Special too.
You know, it's the funniest. This is something I was literally talking to Lloyd about this like a few weeks ago. So Troma was the first company in America to distribute Miyazaki.
Were they really?
They were before Disney. Yeah, and like I think Disney bought them out when right when they were expired, their rights were expiring. And so they brought Totoro to the US, and then Disney bought and then has taken credit for Miyazaki being in the US. But that was literally Troma.
I was going to say they were definitely around before Disney in the US because we all saw them as children, and like I didn't think that Disney took over until it was
a little bit later,
in the 2000s, right?
You know, he really should.
That would be perfect.
He should actually direct like comic movies. Because he's got this, and he, you know, so many amazing people came through him. Like James Gunn literally came from the Troma world. And like everyone loves James Gunn because he's crazy. You know.
People are loving those crazy directors right now, but him and Taika Waititi, I mean, like they're all the rage.
Yeah. It's like that's what's because everyone's like so scared to do anything. These people are like, I don't care. Like they're like, I'm gonna do it, and if you hate it. But like, whatever, you know. And it's like it's something so wonderful about what people create when they don't care.
Well, that's what it needs to be too, because like we've gotten so much of the regurgitation. We've gotten I want to say the production house like Warner Brothers, that just there's too many people in suits that are influencing how a movie or a creation is made. When it's like it might have been something really good until they came in and were like, take this out or edit it out or change the perspective here. And then it becomes something completely different and very much cookie cutter because to them, that's what sells.
Right.
But it's like we, the people, are tired. Everybody has heard me say this if you've watched the show more than once. We're tired of the same Resident freaking Evil trash. We want something new. We want something edgy. Give it to us. We'll support it.
You know, and I think we're starting to go through this huge renaissance like in the film industry, where people are saying like, I'm going to do it myself because I'm not letting people tell me what to do anymore. Which is awesome. Like I'm definitely part of that whole movement where it's like, I don't care. Like we're going to make art and it's going to be awesome. And we're not letting, you know, the execs at this network tell us what to do. We're just going to make it first. And then whoever is bold enough to put it on is going to put it on. And that's kind of what Bound was. And I have another one I'm developing right now to do basically the exact same thing with, because I'm like, I hate this whole idea that we're supposed to like sell it to somebody and then they get to do whatever they want to it. And then, you know, and it's just like, and then it's what they usually do to it is they like make it as PC as possible. They make it like as cookie cutter so you can sell it everywhere as possible. And it's like, where's the art? Like
it loses the magic.
Yeah.
It
like
loses
even
what makes it special.
Yeah. Like talking about like execs, like I was so excited for the first Suicide Squad movie. I was so excited. And I watched it. I was really disappointed. And there were some great parts of it. But then I found, because I wanted it to be a lot darker, because these are our villains. These are like our DC's already dark. And then these are our DC villains, you know, and this is like really like, I'm expecting like a lot, you know, out of that one. And so I found out later that the director's cut was really, really dark. You know, and it was really intense. And then it was the suits were like, we need to cut this down. Like, we need to make this more vanilla. And I was like, you know, finding that out, I'm like, they shot all that footage too. You know, like.
I know. And it's out there and we want it, but it's like, will they give it to us? That's the hard part. Yeah, I was going to say, just like Lisa, just like it's the same with us in indie comics, where there's big publishers that will do the same thing, like to a script. They'll buy the property, but then they have a say in it. They can shelve it, they can produce it, but a lot of times they're making massive changes to the way that it was originally intended. So a lot of us are doing like Lee, like myself, like all sorts of people that watch this show. We're independent comic book creators for that reason. And a lot of times we utilize crowdfunding like Kickstarter and Indiegogo and Zoop, all these different ways to help us produce these comics, because again, it takes money and it takes people's time. And, artists have to eat too. So, I mean, we get it. It's just it's hard.
Guns of Eden was an Indiegogo project too.
Was it really? I was just going to ask you, are you guys in the indie film world, are you utilizing Kickstarter and Indiegogo? Yeah, that's awesome.
I think they did like an $80,000 raise for Guns of Eden on Indiegogo. And then I think they got a little bit of private investment after that. And then for my film after that, we did a raise and then we got private investment after. But, you know, the raise helps just show like that people believe in the movie and that there's an audience or the project in general, whatever it may be. So like those platforms have really, you know, helped people get their projects out there.
Yeah, they're huge for anybody who's an independent artist or creator to utilize. So we're there for those as well. You know, we support each other, and we would happily support film stuff too. You know, if we believe in it. It's just, you know, we have to know it exists. And that's like 90% of the battle, right? Is people knowing that the Vegan exists, that you exist. And it's like, that's why I do shows like this. It's like to introduce you to a new market. It's like people don't know, you know, what they don't know. So exactly. I'm very happy. Yeah, very happy to introduce people onto the show so that we can get to know you and support you and follow your career and your projects. So fun times.
Yeah, that's amazing. I do appreciate that. Like, I love that, you know. It is crazy. And I think that's why, like, you know, you have like a top X amount of films a year, and those are the ones that put like or films, any really artistic pursuit where all the money is going into like the marketing of it. That's what people know, you know, like, because it's in their face all the time. So then they're like, okay, well, this is what's out right now. But there's so much content out there now. And it seems like it's getting buried. And like I'm saying, like content of all sorts, you know, podcasts, films, music. I have so many artists that I'm friends with that, you know, they have really great music, but they may not have the best representation and people just don't know about them yet. So it's like, it's weird, that whole concept of like, if there was the same amount of money put into marketing, like it would probably be exactly the same.
Right. Yeah, I wonder about that sometimes, It's like, what is a good budget to spend on marketing? And like, how does one go about that? Because something that all of us here in the indie comic, world want to know, is because if we could effectively get our story out there, would it be one of those where everybody jumps on? And it's the same thing for everybody, right? When you guys were raising money for Guns of Eden, did you have like part of that went towards marketing or no?
I think that was covered by, we cut a distribution deal with Uncorked before we ever made the movie. And I wasn't on the producing team. I'm just saying we, because I was part of the project. So this was really the producing team that was doing this. They cut a deal with Uncorked, and I think Uncorked, absorbed the budget for marketing.
Gotcha.
So we got to do like production, like pre-production, production, and post-production costs. And then they did the marketing, that part of post-production.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Which is helpful. I mean, it really is. Like, I notice, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, they really do. It's just having more people getting it out there. It helps.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, get into every market that you can. Let everybody know you exist. Like, word of mouth is huge. Here's that link again, everybody. Amazon, Guns of Eden. So go watch this. It's an awesome, kick-ass, fun, comedic time. It's not really a comedy, but it made me laugh. Such a great movie. You guys will enjoy it. It's kind of what we do. Yeah, I know. Isn't it? It is. We like to have people on and talk to them about what they do.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I wanted to ask you about the helicopter.
Okay.
There's just a helicopter in the production. How do you rent a helicopter? I don't know how they did rent a helicopter, but were you there for that day of production, or was that like second
that
unit?
It was a small scale model.
Was it really?
Yeah. The helicopter and the Jeep that exploded, they were small scale.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That was totally believable. I was like, how did they afford a freaking helicopter?
I'm so glad you thought that. Yeah, that was, we had these, like, that's the thing, like having skilled people, that was actually, our DP does those effects. Our camera guy, he was doing those effects too for the film.
Really?
All the gunshots, the explosions and stuff like that. That was all done in post, and like the stuff like the helicopter, those were small scale.
How small?
Like this big.
Like this big?
Yeah, like he has this picture on social media, Chris Cosgrave, like our DP, and it's like, I think it was like this big. The Jeep was like this big, and he's holding it right next to the one that we used in the shot. The big real size practical one, and they're identical.
Oh my
and
gosh.
He's just like, movie magic.
That was amazing. I thought it was a real thing. I was impressed that I was like, woo, they got a budget.
Right.
Oh, look what Pat's put up.
It really adds. Like, he was like, oh, what is this?
What is this? Ooh.
Oh my God.
We'll watch some of it and then you can pause. Pops. Look, see? People, it's a freaking helicopter. This is what I'm talking about. I was like, that's a helicopter.
Not insane. I can't believe you put it up. Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's like this big.
That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
Skills I wish I had. Let's just say that.
Whoa.
There it goes. Adding the rotors. Okay. So that's what they actually filmed with that on site with the actress. That was a full day of running for that actress. I'm sorry.
Right. This is insane.
That's so cool.
I had no idea this video existed. This is so cool.
Yeah. Kablooey. There
This
you go.
one was-
There it goes. Awesome.
See? Yeah,
That's the picture. See, it's all movie magic, people.
Isn't that
Wow.
crazy?
That's awesome.
I have to tell you where I found this, Alex.
Where did you find
you
it?
find this?
It's on your Facebook page.
Look at that. I don't really go on Facebook.
Maybe he
so,
tagged her. I don't know.
Obviously.
I stopped going on Facebook, and like sometimes I'll pop in, like if I'll basically only go on Facebook if Greg's like, "Hey, I shared this on Facebook," and I'll go and I'll share it again.
Yeah, he dropped it on your Facebook.
That is hilarious. I had zero clue.
I just wanted to pop in and say hi. I'll get back out the way and continue with my production duties.
Yes, thank you.
Hi. Oh my god! Literally on my Facebook. It's so people
That's
could put anything on my Facebook. I wouldn't know.
That's a big gun, Alexandra. Were you running
know.
around with all day? Was it heavy?
Yeah, they were heavy. That one's
times are
like
we
my
showing
favorite
this?
effect in the movie.
What's that?
That's my favorite effect in the whole movie. This
That one, yeah. That was awesome.
It was
That
just
was
so
definitely
well
like,
done.
And then this. I was like, yeah, girl, get it.
Yeah, this is so cool. So he was doing all of this in post.
Yeah,
I can't believe he made this video. This is perfect.
that's so cool. Cool. All right, so that was that layer. Now we have the flash. Cool. Dude, let's play the trailer for people. Let's get that out of there. Let me go back to here. Helps if I can spell guns.
I know it's definitely on Amazon. Aw, Lee, thank you. I know it's definitely on Amazon. I don't know if it's on IMDb, the trailer.
There's no trailer?
I have no idea.
What the heck?
Because, yeah, I think you have to upload it separately. So I'm not sure if it's on there. But it's definitely on Prime. Like, or the link that you put in the chat, it's on that.
Gotcha. Is it in YouTube? Maybe it's in YouTube.
Yeah, it's definitely on YouTube as well.
All right, I can share YouTube page. Guns of Eden. Trailer. There we are. Oh, pause. Share. Sorry, I got to click on like 16 things. All right, so I can't play the whole thing because we'll get hit with copyright. So I'm going to play a little bit at a time, and then we can talk about it so people can kind of see.
It's all yours.
Next time, I'll just let you have the color. Megan! Hey, I'm going camping this weekend with a few friends. You should tag along. It'll do you some good to get you out of the city. Say goodbye to all the bad guys.
I already have. See, I can see what you mean, where she had like no purpose and like
Right.
she just didn't care. Like, I already said goodbye, whatever. You know, very kind
Yeah.
of disconnected from life.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they do any kind of like police training?
We didn't actually. I think they surprisingly we didn't do any police training. It was mostly just, you know, we had a lot of ex-military on set, so they were just like, this is how you hold a gun for anybody that doesn't know, or like you can also hold it like this if you're used to holding it like this. But I don't remember any police training if we had it.
Gotcha. Well, then that's a no. Because usually if you've had, like, they put you through the ropes.
Yeah.
I was just curious because it's like you are playing a police officer if they spend
Yeah,
time.
I know.
We're gonna rough it out in the wilderness.
You were right. I needed to get out.
You working for someone?
We don't work for drug traffickers.
Uh-oh. I love that moment where you guys were like, oh, snap. Like, what did I just see? Oh, yeah. She's got chops, guys. She can definitely act. Just wait till you see more.
What the hell is going on?
We just witnessed a homicide.
Why didn't you flag down those cops?
Because they're the killers. They're after us because we saw what they did. It's a call to arms. They're bringing in reinforcements.
Dun, dun, dun. So this is kind of where I got that, like, most dangerous game feel.
Yeah,
where it's
I get it.
You're in the woods and now everybody's coming to get you.
Yeah.
For those who heard like the beginning or missed the beginning, this is like a bunch of different groups of I don't know what you want. I've been calling them rednecks, but it's just
they're like militia. They call themselves freedom fighters.
Freedom fighters, militia, Minutemen, I think were some of the terms they were calling themselves.
Yeah.
And the police basically said, like, this is our town. These are our rules. These people saw what happened. We go take care of our own. We're going to, they don't leave, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have, I didn't even count how many people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this was like 20 people out against 4. 2 police officers and 2 people who have no idea what they're in for.
Yeah, that sucks. That really sucked.
I was like, man, I wasn't sure how long your police officer friend was going to last. But the other 2 were definitely red shirts. Like, they weren't going to make it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to mention between your 2 characters, the 2 police officers, is like, he was very much like, here's my gun. I'm going to lead him away to protect you, like, so you can survive. Yeah. Make sure you run this way and I'll run this way and draw him towards me. Your character was like, here's my kitty punch ring.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm keeping all the guns for myself.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's so funny. Sharkies.
So I was like, ooh, man, she's not playing. She's going to survive. Like, but it is like, he was very altruistic. Hello, Doc. Where he was like, you can survive and I'll sacrifice myself. And
she's like, you guys have no chance if I sacrifice myself right now.
Right. Oh my gosh. What? What an idiot. Yes. I'm sorry. That moment right there. Tell me about what you were feeling in this moment, because
he's like, I want pure rage. He's like, so I went back to times in my life that I've been like just full, like seeing red moments. And that's where that came from. I was like, what's the scariest version of myself that exists? And how do I get her to come here right now?
Yeah, exactly. Was it cathartic? Like when you did this, did you feel release? Were you energized or like amped up? Like after you were done feeling this?
I was like, yeah. I mean, it was, I was just like, this one wasn't the most cathartic moment.
No.
It was a huge release for sure. Because anytime you get to scream as loud as possible, it's a huge release. But I was mostly just like, I'm going to get a sore throat if I keep doing this. So are we done?
That was my next question, is how many takes of this did you have to do?
Like it was under 10 for sure. We definitely did under 10 takes, but they were full takes. So I was just like, I don't know if I have like it in me to do more than this. But
Yeah.
they had gotten what they needed at that point. Because really, like when you have stuff that's like so much effort that you're putting into it, you only have so much energy that you really have to go full force. And then afterwards, it starts dying down a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely diminishes, and you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
Unless
can.
that's what you're going for, like in The
Right.
Shining, where they did like 127 takes or something ridiculous, where they wanted her to seem like drained and tired and confused. You know what I mean?
Right.
But not this. This is like, you need that energy and that it needs to be potent.
Right.
So 10 takes, because
it's
I
like,
would totally
yeah, like with this one, like it was right out of the gate, full energy. So the first few were probably some of the better ones. And then afterwards, it's like, all right, I gave all my energy for 3 or 4 takes, and now I have a little bit less to give and then a little bit less to give. But it was really like, it was, it's really funny to see how like the cast, the crew around like responds during certain takes. Like this was one where people were like, it was really loud. Like, and they're like, that was a scream right there. Like,
it's impressive. Yeah, when the sound guy is like, whoa, that's how you know, like, good job.
Yeah, you're like, good job. Ruined your hero.
Guns of Eden. Yes. I love how they got that effect in there. It's like, bravo. There you go, people. Guns of Eden. It's a trailer. Again, you can go find it. Watch it yourself, the whole thing. You didn't even see some of the best things. Some of the kills are top notch. Let me tell you. There's some moments in there. They're full Rambo. Very impressive. So very good. I'm getting hot. I don't know if you got my do you watch Star Trek?
It's been a while. I was a little, that one I never got super into. But I know what it is.
You know what red shirt means?
Yeah, that one I understood. I just don't know like tons and tons about it.
Nah, that's all you need to know. They had no chance. They were definitely red shirts. They would show up and just die. Did any of the Minutemen, they had a lot of gun training or no? Like, was it just
I think it varied. I think some people, because I know a few of them were ex-military.
Okay.
But I don't think all of them were. So I think it was kind of a mixed bag.
Gotcha. I was going to say, I bet you those ex-military people on set really came in handy, for some of them.
Yeah, I believe our DP was also ex-military, so he was kind of teaching people kind of on the fly. If he was shooting, if he got an angle and it didn't look realistic, he'd be like, hey, like, can you hold it this way instead? And then the ex-military people, all of them were also helping out on set too.
That's cool. At least you had people, everybody's willing to pitch in.
Yeah, exactly. It was super collaborative.
So at this point, where does this movie go? And now that it's on Amazon, is it done? Did you do a circuit with the film festivals with this one?
No. So because we got the distribution before, we weren't really allowed to do festival circuit. So they have sole rights to it to run, and now they're running it on Apple TV and Amazon Prime, and now it exists out in the world.
Gotcha. Hey, Jim, how are you? Jim is another artist and sculptor. He does amazing work. So hello, Jim.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hi. But yeah, so it's just like any movie. Like it's done. It did its premiere, and now it's out. For the world to see.
There was something I was thinking about that I want to ask you about. It's just someone was talking about the types of movies that are made nowadays and how it's different from before because of streaming services. That some of the distribution deals.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think Matt Damon also did like a whole segment talking about that as well.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm referring to. that like the
Yeah.
little coffee house movies aren't getting made anymore because there's no kickback from like DVD distribution anymore, or not
Yeah,
really.
like people are making like no money from DVD, and then from my understanding also from like box office. Like box office, if you have the market, like the budget for that marketing, box office can help, but it's not like the same as it used to be, because I did listen to that, and he was talking about how, he could do this drama where, like it's a $10 million film, and say typically like you have to make like twice to be able to break even, or somewhere around there to be able to break even. He's like, back in the day when, it was just like not straight onto VOD, and it was theatrical release first, and then, then you can buy the DVD like 6 months later. He's like, it was a lot easier to make the money back. But yeah, VODs have really changed a lot. Like, I know I have a friend who he was trying to sell his film to Netflix. And I don't know if they ended up doing it or not, but they were offering him like a very small amount of money for it, because Netflix produces all of their material, and they don't really need anybody else's material. But if they think that it could attract some more viewers, like they'll put it on there, but they're not getting like the same. For example, like if you go on and you rent Guns of Eden, you're paying for that. You're not getting it through a subscription service. So that's different. But if you're getting something that's straight to Netflix, you're just paying the subscription fee to Netflix still. You're not paying for the movie separately. So like they're paying filmmakers such low money that it's like harder to make money on certain films. If you have a huge action movie that you can sell internationally, like John Wick, it's a lot easier to make all the money back.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, so how do we combat that? It's like, how do you, as a small-time film producer, combat the fact that you're not going to get, as much return? You just do it because you love it, it's a passion project, and be damned whether you make money or not? Or like, how can we turn that into something sustainable?
Yeah, I think, it's something I talk with people about a lot, where, like we have to figure out like a new way, because we do want to still be able to make these, movies that aren't Marvel movies. Like Marvel movies have their place and they're great, but like we need more than that. We need like, all types of films. So like it is really, really interesting to like try to figure out like a way, around this, because you want to make what you want to make, but you have to, I guess, play the game enough that you can make money.
Right.
So it's like that.
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, you can't be in the red all the time. There has to be some source of income from it.
Yeah, like, just like certain little things, like having a name talent. Like people hate it, but if you could put someone in for one day, then you could market the whole film and sell it internationally with that one name. So
yeah, but you have to be able to afford that one name.
Right. Exactly. Or just know them and they do you a favor, which is very few people. So it's like, it's kind of like, it's like a puzzle trying to figure it out.
It's almost like who as well,
Mm-hmm. It's a big part of it, because, people do like get favors from name talent, from big name talent. It's just like, they're like family friends or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, it's like, it's fun because it's like a puzzle a little bit, because you're like, I don't know, like, let's see if we can make this work.
I think that way about comics as well. It's almost like it's the struggle. You have to enjoy the where you are in the moment, you know what I mean, in your journey. And the struggle is part of the joy, where it's like, now where we are, nobody knows Path of the Pale Rider except for the small independent group. But as we grow and we get our name out there, then you can look back at the struggle and be like, look what we did. Look at all the hard work we did and put towards this. And then embrace the suck while you're in it. But it's like, you won't, as long as you spend the time and you're passionate, it's like you'll get through the suck, and then you can look back, and then you can kind of pay it forward and find those people that were you a year ago.
Right.
And if they have questions, or what do I do, or how do I run a Kickstarter, you can be that person to be like, hey, I ran a Kickstarter and let me help you. So it's about, we can all eat at the table if we go together kind of mentality as well.
Yeah.
Pops had put a question out here that I thought was interesting. What's your favorite on-set blooper from Guns of Eden?
Man, that's
people running through the mud.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a great question because I know we laughed a lot. I just don't remember like what specifically. Like on a blooper. That's a great question. I fell a lot in one of the scenes. That was there's a scene right before you go into like the two guns, you know, the circling two gun thing.
Yeah.
So I run down like kind of like this slope, and then I hop off this rock onto another rock, and it was like difficult. So like there were a lot of takes of me falling, like, and just like,
ouch.
You know. But so I was talking to someone like last night about it. Like, I want to see all those outtakes because I didn't break character. I just fell and kept going. And I think that would have been, it would be so funny to see some, and then Greg would be like, all right, cut. Like,
reset.
Like, play it off. Like, I'd be like, this is realistic. I'm going to play this off. And he'd be like, stop. He'd be like,
is there a blooper reel that exists?
I need to ask them because I think it would be so funny. I think we really need like I think this would be a great film to have a blooper reel. There were a lot of, my co-star, Traz, the guy that played Jeremy, he had this whole time, like throughout the whole film, every day he was on set, like he wanted his one fuck in the movie. And I don't even remember if he got it. I think he did. I think he ended up getting it, but there were a lot of different,
a good one.
Yeah, like there were a lot of different scenes where he like tried it, you know. So that was definitely really funny. So there are a lot of like just random scenes where he says fuck to like say, because he wants it to make the cut. So that was hilarious.
Should string all of those together. That would make a great blooper right there. Just hold our character Jeremy.
Her falling down and then him saying fuck, and then her falling down and then him saying fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think you're only allowed to say it one time, for rating.
Yeah, exactly. Like we got one in the movie, I'm pretty sure.
Fuck, but you had a good one. I was like right into camera, just like, fuck, and I was like, yes. He's like, the phone didn't work, and you're like, no.
Yeah. I forgot about that one. It's so funny. Like I forget about them sometimes.
Well, how long ago was that shot?
Like towards the end of last year. So about a year ago.
About a year ago.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget like time has gone by. There's shooting time and then there's post-production. There has to be editing and it does all sorts of stuff before it hits, so people are like,
and editing takes a long time.
Yeah, that wasn't yesterday, people. That was last year.
Yeah.
A couple of years can go by before, the footage comes out and it's like remembering the things that happened.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, it's funny trying to remember it. But it's fun.
I was going to say, did you have any other movies where you were this physical?
Bound was not this physical. No, this is the most physical I've ever been on a film because this is the only action movie I've done.
Gotcha.
Bound was pretty physical, but it wasn't as much as Guns of Eden. Guns of Eden was straight up just like stunts.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was pretty heavy in the stunts. Like Bound had like, I ended up like bleeding a lot during Bound. Like
what?
Because the character has like these like kind of fits of rage. Like,
okay.
So there are like multiple scenes of her having like these fits of rage, and they just end up, like there's like this one scene. God, I hate this scene. I always hated filming this scene for this reason. So the character has like these animal cages. Because she like loves animals, and at one point she's like releasing them all, and she's destroying everything because she's like, she's just fucking the cages up. So every time you hold like an animal, like it's like a bird cage or something, it's not comfortable. And I'm sitting there like throwing them and like bashing them and stuff. So every time we would film this, I'd be bleeding. So it was a different kind of physical. And I was also handling like an animal on set. The character had a sugar glider as a pet. So I had a sugar glider on me a lot. And sometimes the sugar glider didn't want to perform. And when she doesn't want to perform, she bites.
Dang it.
And they also have really sharp claws. So I'd be like handling the sugar glider and the director would be like, all right, reset this. And she'd be like biting me and scratching into my skin. So like every time I would do like those two scenes specifically, those two types of scenes, like my hands would just be cut up. Like I remember one time, like one of the weeks I got off set, one of my friends was like, what happened to your hands? And I was like, don't even ask. Like,
you're like, physical fights and sugar gliders, apparently.
Yeah.
I had no idea sugar gliders could be so temperamental. Woo.
Well, when you're forcing them to do stuff they don't want to do, I think most animals will be like that because they're actually very docile animals. But like especially they're nocturnal, so they don't like the light. So we're like shooting during the day and I'm pulling it out of its sack because it sleeps in a sack. So I'm pulling it out and I'm like making it sit there in the light in front of a camera, and it's like trying to crawl in my hoodie so it can be in the darkness and sleep and protect itself. And I'm like, no, come back. And it's like, no, like stop.
I was like, did it, I mean, what kind of a performance can a sugar glider do? Can they actually be trained or?
That was a whole thing. And then in that one, I had this water stunt.
A water stunt?
It was so cute. It was actually so cute.
The sugar glider?
Like, yeah, it turned out really well because the sugar glider had bonded to me. Yeah.
Aw.
So, it knew me and then like it would jump to me. For example, like we had scenes where I would get it out of its cage and it would jump right on my shoulder. So it was actually a very good performer at the end of the day. And we got some really, really adorable shots. And they're just so cute in general. But yeah, that film would be like kind of on the same level as Guns of Eden. I also had this terrible like cold water stunt I had to do, which I had to go underwater. And it was really early spring when we were doing this in New York or in New Jersey. And it was cold. And I had to be fully submerged underwater. And like it's like an underwater screaming shot, and that wasn't fun. And then I had to go like lay on shore, just like like crying and angry at the world. So I'm just sitting there freezing and wet, like. So that one was pretty physical, but Guns of Eden's definitely the most like running, jumping, kicking, punching, that kind of stuff.
Lee, come on now. I wasn't bad-mouthing sugar gliders. When you think of a sugar glider, it's like a little rodent that flies.
Cancellation.
Not canceling sugar gliders. I just am questioning how well you can train it. Can you train a hamster?
I don't know. I actually don't think I've interacted with hamsters that much.
That's
but sugar gliders sugar gliders are like, they really bond to people.
Yeah.
Which is what happened with this one. So on set, it was like that. It was my sugar glider. It would sleep in my hood.
It was probably devastated when filming ended. It was like, where'd my friend go?
Yeah, I was like, this is cruel. but it's fine because they bond to each other, so they have their own mates too. Like, and they just like cuddle all day together, so it's okay. No sugar gliders were harmed in the making.
Nor are we canceling them, Lee. No one is canceling sugar gliders. It was just a valid question about trainability. Jeez. So back to the water stunt. So they were filming you underwater. So they had a crew underwater and you underwater. Uh-oh, the delay is back. Can you hear me? Did I freeze?
They had the camera underwater.
Just the camera. Okay.
It was me and the camera underwater. And then they were, what?
The delay is back. I apologize.
Yeah.
Go ahead with what you're going to say. I'm interested in like, how do you shoot underwater scenes? They just put the camera under, not a whole crew?
They submerged the camera. Like there was a covering on it.
Right. How do they tell you when to go?
What is it?
What's your cue for starting your lines and stuff? Well, lines, screaming.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just like, we just knew I was going under, waiting a few beats and then screaming. So it was really just like, the director was like, hey, like, go. And then, so he would say like, go. And then the camera would become fully submerged, get focused. And then they would let me know when it was time that I could go under. Gotcha. So it was a little bit different. It wasn't like, hey, we slate this. Like, we would slate afterwards.
Gotcha.
So they would come out and they would point the camera over at the slate that was on shore. Yeah, it was funny. The cameraman was in like waders too, like the fishing waders.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And how many takes of that did they make you do?
We actually had to do, we did a few takes on one day, and then we didn't like the footage, so we had to do it another day.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was, and the second day was a lot colder, which was terrible. Like, that day was really like, I was shrieking. That was the worst thing I've ever had to reshoot, ever. Ugh. It's already annoying to have to reshoot something, like in general, but that one was really annoying to reshoot for sure.
Yeah, I would say so. And I mean, like, hopefully they had blankets and stuff to keep you warm in between, you know? Or did they just have you in the water and they were just like, reset and do it again? Or
yeah, they would basically go as long as I would let them. So we'd go out into the water, and then they'd be like, all right, go. And then they would be like, can you do it again? Can you do it again? Can you do it? You know? And I'd be like, until I was like, I can't, you know? And then, you know, the DP would obviously be like, hey, like, I think we got some good stuff. I think we're good. And then the director would be like, let's get another one for safety.
No.
You know?
That's what I'm like. At some point, did he at least tell them that was a good take? Like, that was a good one. Safety. Of course, always a safety.
Yeah, right. It was so funny. But yeah, so those two, it was physical in a different way.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. So make sure that when that one is released, that we could definitely come see it and support you. Because I'm sure everybody who's been watching is now a fan. We were nerding out when you were coming on. I was like, yeah. So we had a great time. I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, me too. Thank you so much for like all the support and the awesome conversation.
Yeah, I had a great time. I love talking about comic book characters with you. Like, that was a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to see where your career goes. And, you know, we can have bragging rights over here on the network. Like, we knew her when.
I love that.
So, awesome. Anything else that we can share with people, like where to find you? We know you're on Facebook, but do you have an Instagram and Twitter? What's that?
I am on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook. So if you do reach out to me on Facebook, it's going to be really hard to get a reply normally. Unless right now, because of the launch, I've been on it a little bit more, but typically I'm never on there. Instagram would be the best platform. So it's at Alexandra Faye 16.
Cool. Do me a favor, put that in the private chat and I'll share that so people can come follow you on Insta. Yeah.
That's it. And that's where I like post updates about any of the films I'm working on and that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Woohoo. Why did it not do that? Oh, come on. Sorry, I'm not the most technical. There we go. For people who want to follow on Instagram, that's where Alexandra is most active. So do you have a Twitter or anything else that we can follow you on?
No, it's just, I mean, I do, but I don't.
I feel you. Usually there's like one that's like kind of primary. Yeah. It's like the other ones are out there, but.
Yeah, it was, it was definitely like, Instagram's like the easiest one for me. And I feel like just professionally, like it works the best for me. And Facebook gets really spammy sometimes.
It does.
People are really weird honestly, people are really weird on Facebook sometimes. So I was just like,
they are
really turned off by Facebook. So I stopped going on Facebook, and then Twitter, I just never was a thing. Like I tried Twitter and it just didn't really hit for me.
No, I feel you. Twitter is kind of a weird place right now. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else is on there that agrees with me, but Twitter's kind of a weird place right now. So yeah, I'm gonna come follow you on Instagram. I'm
Yes.
already following you on Facebook, so everybody else can kind of follow too. And that way, you know, when we see some of your stuff hit, we'll come promote it here on the Madness. Yeah, we are the coolest group on Facebook. That's right. No, I'm sorry.
I'll log on just for that.
All right, just to come hang out with us. We're good
Yeah.
people, and we like everybody, so everybody's welcome. Yeah, everybody, last time I want you to go see this movie. Dude, please go watch Guns of Eden.
Thanks, Pops.
Kick-ass ride. What did your director call it? It was like Deliverance and
First Blood meets Deliverance, I think is what he calls it.
yeah, and I kind of called it like the most dangerous game with Smoking Aces and Rambo. So if you like any of those things, click on this link, go watch the movie. You'll have a fun time. Some of those deaths are really awesome people, so you're going to enjoy it. And I mean, that's kind of where I live. So I'm there for the kick-ass lady. Lots of guns. There's some knife fights. There's some funny dialogue. What's not to like? So go watch the movie. All right, everybody. Everybody say thank you to Alexandra for joining us, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody. I'm going to play some commercials, and I will see you all later.
Good day, Kips and Scabs. You actually managed to reach our first goal of 30 followers on our Kickstarter to fund Bound for the Sticks, a novel by Bunsard Bogle that will include Roar, the founder. But you're not off the hook yet. We need a lot more kibble before we can fulfill this campaign. Our next goal is 50 followers, which will unlock a new item that will be made available during the campaign. A miniature of our protagonist, some scav I never heard of. Regardless, you get to visit Arcology, the capital of the multiverse, founded by me, Duncan Lexicon, and you'll get to see my studio and my horde of collectors down the end of the hall casino. So, get to work! And in case you are Totok to visit our beautiful city, check out our video guide, link in the description, and of course make your stay your way.
here, look into our eyes and you see no fear, no remorse for the words that we speak on our mind. Working overtime, always on the grind.
I told you before to come and get me, didn't see semi-automatics, but I see plenty of these faggots coming through claiming niggas skills and they don't really have it. Y'all don't really want it with tech. Addicts, records got my bag. The fact that's all I really need. I don't need start. I'm fucking with them platinum plaques. When I got Doc Cap and IBS, we got hot on the train. No more beefing and no more diss. I finally got all the monkeys off my back. Stick on the floor and y'all already got all the money that you say you got. I don't really care, don't say what I want, so maybe one of these days I'm making shot. I blew up faster than people ever thought I would've. Could the kid when I heard y'all try to shoot me down, but still I stood. Y'all already know I stand tall. I can't follow.
America's southern border has become a war zone. Human traffickers, drug smugglers, and terrorists flow across the Rio Grande with impunity, secure in the knowledge that no one will stop them. A distant federal government lectures Americans on their privilege while punishing overworked border patrol agents who were helpless to stem the tidal wave of invaders and determined migrants. Second-generation Cuban-American Marcos Zamora is a military vet, more patriotic than most Americans. No longer able to ignore the chaos at his doorstep, he acts. Joined by his best friend Gus, they hit the border every night, saving lives while stopping violent drug cartels and other opportunists. The government reacts with fury at Marcos' attempts to preserve American sovereignty, deploying the full might of their enforcement agencies. But Marcos understands that the only thing the rich and powerful fear is bad publicity, and he records every encounter. Whoever he is, this private American must be stopped. Illustrated by Richard Bonk and written by Eisner winner Mike Barron, Private American is his version of Captain America, and maybe a little Punisher, taking part in this ongoing, violent, and very real battle of good versus evil in the war for American sovereignty. Grab your copy at theprivateamerican.com.
We have a secure border, and that is a priority for our administration.
Bringing you sex, sass, and style. Buckle up and unlock your imagination for a fun adventure with these death-dealing dames. They sail the galaxy in search of spoils. The most dangerous acquisition, and the most fruitful, are the legendary Splinters of Yggdrasil. The Splinters are magical artifacts forged from the Tree of Life that wreak havoc on the universe. The missions are perilous, but the bounty is glorious. Enjoy our hyper-fictional wonderland. How is a pirate ship sailing through space? 'Cause magic. How do they heal so quickly after battle? 'Cause magic. How are they able to communicate through jewelry? 'Cause magic. It's all about the characters. Abo, rough, robotic, ready. Mo, carefree, callous, courageous. Mistress Graven, daring, diplomatic, dominating. Betsy, academic, accountable, aristocratic. Nefara, ancient, assured, adrenaline junkie. Bruto, proud, prominent, protective. Fisty, independent, incendiary, invigorating. Roxy, superficial, scarred, secretive. Once you get to know this diverse crew of mythical miscreants, you'll be anxious to find out what trouble they'll get into on the next episode. Go to abogrizzly.com and order both halves of the first episode today.